Here we go, y'all. We're in a different studio today.
Yeah, here we go.
Shop Talk with Cassandra Renee.
Oh my goodness.
Go.
Let's see how we do, y'all.
Uh-huh.
Y'all know how resistant I am to change.
Let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna play the CD so we can start recording it.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Hey, welcome to Shop Talk with Cassandra Renee. With me is my co-host, Kevin Eaton.
Welcome, Baltimore.
Hey, we are back with our iconic barbers. We're back with part 2 of our show from last week.
Yeah, we had a nice time with our iconic barbers in our last show.
Oh my goodness, a wealth of information is what they were. So we have Mr. Angelo Richardson with us. We have Craig Skilz and Wanza Poole. Let's start with Wanza. Tell us a little bit about yourself in case people forgot from last week.
I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I've been practicing barbering since about 1989. I've owned my own shop since about 2001, and I am not only am I a barber and shop owner, but I'm an educator as well.
Very good. Angelo?
Yep, I'm owner of Afrolistics Barbershop and Salon in Glen Burnie, Maryland. We turned 19 years old, March the 7th. I'm just looking forward to being in business 19 more years.
All right, that's what I say.
I hear that.
Craig?
My name's Craig Skilz from Wilmington, Delaware. I've been in business for 20-some-odd years on a barber salon.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Well,
You know,
thank you.
I think I should start off the show because last week I kind of missed out on some of the sponsorships. So I'd like to get to pay some bills first, okay? Also, we'd like for you to visit our website, talkwithcassandra.com. Visit us on Facebook, Shop Talk with Cassandra Renee. Follow us on Twitter. You can email us at info@talkwithcassandra.com. Or you can leave a message for us at 443-579-7690. Also, if you would like to get involved in our From the Heart campaign, please contact us. And just to remind you, our From the Heart campaign is AIDS and HIV awareness, sarcoidosis, and lupus diseases. Okay?
Coiffure, C-O-I-F-F-U-R-E.
Coiffure Exclusive Salon. And we also like to remind you of the play Too Much Drama 2, which will be Saturday, April 13th at 7 p.m. For tickets, please call 443-207-2265.
That's going to be a wonderful play. I like hanging out with you, cuzzo, taking me to plays and things of that nature.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Yeah.
That's what I'm good for.
Yeah, putting me out there like that. Getting me HIV tested and all kinds of things like that. That's pretty cool.
At least now you know your status.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll plead to our listeners, please know your status. Okay? Now back to our barbers in the house.
Yay.
You know, what was your fondest memory as a boy growing up in the barbershop? Let's start with you, Angelo.
I hated going to the barbershop.
You hated it?
Yeah. They had
Why?
to drag me in the barbershop.
Why?
I just didn't like to go. And so it's kind of ironic that I am a barber now.
Yes, it is.
So that was just one of my biggest fears as a kid. So actually, I have 2 customers who are kids who are writing a book about the barbershop experience.
Ooh, I bet that's
So
interesting.
yeah, so some of this stuff, and I've been coming in here since they were each a year old. Now they're 14 and 13.
Oh my gosh.
So then I guess they'll make it easier for kids to not be afraid to come to the barbershop.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Wanza?
I would have to agree with Angelo.
What?
I hate to get my hair.
What's going on?
I can relate.
And my fondest memory would be my grandfather taking me to the barbershop. And he's a military guy, so he's, he was give him a hustler. Clothes on the sides, low on top. And
Give him a hustler.
give him a hustler. I remember he would get us up at 7. He'd get me, my cousin and I, up at 7 in the morning to get there early. I remember it wasn't a lot of TV going on, but it was like KYW, which is our informational AM station in Philadelphia. You know, broadcasting news and the weather and all that. And I just remember that and just grown men having conversation about life and things like that.
Craig?
I think for me is going into the barbershop and picking one of the numbers on the old posters for a haircut. Years ago, on the barber posters had numbers, and the older barbers used to say, which number you want. That's all the haircuts you're doing. So that's my memory, is picking number 6. And,
number
6 was my cut. Just number whatever you want. I just wanted to look like number 6. Number 6 was my cut.
Sometimes I think we need to go back to that. Kevin, what's yours?
Well, basically, I can relate to them guys because I hated school. And now I find myself passionately working with school kids, you know, at-risk school kids and stuff like that hate school, you know. And when I was young, I tried to put distance between me and the school. Now I find myself going to the school and counseling with kids that are there and everything. So I can relate to that.
You can relate to that.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy going to the barbershop?
Well, it all depends if I went to Uncle Walter's. Went to Uncle Walter's shop. You know, I enjoyed going over there because it was like a family type thing.
Well, was he moving slow back then?
Well, Uncle Walter's like a cool dude. He moves slow.
Lots of swagger.
Yeah, you know, he's like that. You know,
Slow
big cars.
swagger.
Yeah, you know, he got the big cars. Yeah.
You know, I want to ask our barbers this. You know, there is a concern about a bill that's been introduced to make it so that licensure for barbering and cosmetology is no more. I'd like to know what your feelings are on that. We can start with Angelo.
Well, you got a whole lot of bootleggers, so that would be good for the bootleggers, but it would be bad for us licensed barbers who take our craft very serious.
Yes.
I take mine very serious, so I would like to see where they keep it and make it fair across the board.
Yes.
I just think that's totally unfair for states to have no requirements. I pay good money to go to school.
Yes.
So I think that would be unfair to us.
And I think it'll flood the
Right.
industry even more. Can you
Right.
imagine that?
Right.
I mean, because I know there are beauty salons. It's like 3 in every block. But I mean, barbershops.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be pretty close, a close second to that. Okay, Wanza.
I definitely would like to see licensing stay a part of our industry.
Yes.
Part of the issue with licensing, and right now, is a lot of the barbers, I would say, from the 90s and the 80s coming in, going to school, a lot of them didn't pay their loans back. And so a lot of the accreditations for some of these barber schools, especially in Philly, have been taken away from the state. So now guys are required to pay $7,000 to $10,000 straight cash. Guys aren't paying it, so then they just say, well, I don't want my license because the state isn't being hard on coming to barbershops, shutting them down if they're not licensed. And then also guys are already cutting hair and are already practicing barbering and they're working all day, then you're telling them, well, you need to go to school from 9 to 5. Now that just completely messes up their money. So in my opinion, we just have to find a way to maybe cut the hours and make it affordable for people to be licensed. I think people really want to be licensed, but the process of it is just difficult because you're telling people 1,250 hours. That equals 9 months if you go 9 to 5. Well, if I was unlicensed in my position, I would never get a license because I'm already rolling in the barbershop. I can't afford with the responsibilities that I have to take off. So I think that the states need to come up with creative ways instead of saying, we'll just eliminate a barber license and then just charge y'all for understanding to take a class on cleanliness. So we have to find a balance between time, money, and being licensed.
Yeah, that was one question that I had. How many people get caught up in maybe like the catch-22 trick bag where they are good barbers, but they may not have the funds or the finances to be able to become licensed, to be recognized as a licensed barber? And do you have anything in place that could help people like that to get them to that next level?
Right, and that's one of the things that I do. I take on apprentices in Philadelphia. If you are a barber manager, you can take apprentices on underneath of you in your barbershop. So I do offer apprentice services, so guys can come train underneath me for about a year, and then they can not only teach them the book side of the barbering, but I also teach them the practicing it and then I also give them something extra that schools and the book can't offer, which is experience. And I help them obtain a license that way. So we need more things like that, I think, throughout the country to allow people who own salons, who have experience, to be able to train guys. But then you have a part of the industry that we have that in Philly, but then you have guys, all right, I'll sign you up, get you I'll help you get your license, and they just take the people money and don't really train them.
Greg, do you have anything to add along those lines?
As
far as the bill and apprenticeship?
The bill, like, it's getting more intense. It's probably gonna pass, and I think it's in Idaho, somewhere out west. Older Caucasian man been 80 years old. He was cutting hair. I'll just tell you a quick story. For years, they told him he had to go back to school and to get his license, because the requirements that he went, his license lapsed. So they saying he has to go back to get his license. In Chicago, a barber put in the paper all the bootleggers. So it's becoming to be a huge mess. So they trying to find a way, and it is, people got to realize it is business. Just everybody in the business, everybody's in it to make money. They trying to find a way either to wipe it out with all this confusion, or keep it going. The way they got it going now is not working right, because it's still having more bootleggers. So they trying to say, okay, we can't stop the bootleggers, so we need something in place. So, you know, I suggest just call your local legislator and just try to, you know, put it forth through. Try to put your issues through to see what happens. But right now, something is going to happen. That's what I put through.
That's scary.
Yeah,
it really is.
It really is.
Wow. Should barbers be cross-trained, you think? Wanza, we talked about that briefly.
Yes, I believe if barbers want to maximize their earning potential, they should be cross-trained. Absolutely. And in Philadelphia, actually, one of the things that they have been progressively doing, and I guess this is the same for every state, they hand the testing over to a different agency every couple of years.
Yeah.
So the new agency that has it now, they've implemented more cosmetology services on the barbering aspect. So, for example, before we had to do blow dry and thermal curl and demonstrate a thermal curl. Now we have to perform 4 out of 6 services on a mannequin, and then they'll let you know when you get there. So we have to do highlighting techniques with the foil paper. We have to do permanent waving with the rods. We have to do a virgin color, a virgin straightener, and demonstrate both of those as a retouch. But they won't let you know exactly what 4 they want you to do until you get to the test.
So you have to learn them all.
So you have to learn them all. And one of the things is it discourages barbers, because barbers, they don't see the value in that.
Right.
So a lot of barbers are like, I'm not going to do this. And they get to the test and they fail that part. But, you know, it is important. And then when I explain to barbers, well, okay, I know you don't really like this, but do you really understand a cosmetologist who specialize in color are charging about $20 a foil? You know, just highlighting alone can be worth $100 to $200, depending on how good you are, depending on what they want. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I might want to learn how to do that.
Oh, they changed their mind
Yeah,
quickly.
they changed their mind quickly.
Dollar signs.
Yeah. I told them, go home and practice on your girlfriend.
Exactly. She's not going to complain.
Yeah, once she see you can do it on the mannequin, oh man, she's going to want you to do it.
Absolutely.
So do you think cosmetologists should be cross-trained in barbering?
Yes.
I do. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Why?
I do. Well, because they're jacking up a lot of women. You know, with the short hair, short style, they're jacking women up. So yeah, they should be cross-trained. And what we find when we do our classes, not only in schools but even at trade shows, is mostly women. And women have a passion to learn how to cut.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of guys we'll see in a crowd, they'll have their arms folded like they got everything, they know everything, like they really don't want to know anything. And Skilz can attest to this. I've been in a classroom in Las Vegas, and there was a guy in the crowd kept trying to challenge him a little bit. And Craig does a really good job at managing his classroom, because instead of getting offended, or instead of, you know, kind of politely telling the guy to shut up, he just finds a really good way of dealing with the guy, returning his question back to him and shutting him down. And then at the end of the class, the guy walks up, shakes his hand, said, man, I appreciate it, I love the class. Because this is the kind of attitude that the guys have. I'm that guy, so like, what am I going to really learn from you? You're not good. And then once you shut them down, they like, man, Barber love.
Wow, it's a shame you have to shut them down.
Yeah, you got to shut them down.
Because that same energy, you could be teaching them something new.
Exactly, and then,
you know?
and that's why we say Barber love. You know, we shake their hand, give them a hug, Barber love, man.
If there's nothing else you have to say, you know, we try to take the negative out. Even if you don't have nothing nice to say, and you mad at somebody, just look at them in their face and say Barber love, and that speaks positive and negative. I might not like you, but I'm gonna just say Barber love to you today, because we not gonna get in an argument.
Right.
I
So
like that.
I use that we use that as Barber love. Yes.
I like that. I like that name anyway, Barber Love.
Barber love.
You know, let's talk a little bit about trademark.
Okay.
Okay, because you and I talked a little bit about that. How important is trademarking?
Trademarking is very, very important. The thing is, people, there's not a lot of originality out here, so people are just taking other people's names and just respinning them. We had an incident where a guy was using Barber Love patches, and I had to call him. I said, "Look, man, you can't use it like that." He said, "Well, I added patches to it, so it's not the same." I said, "Well, let me tell you something. If you create Pepsi Love, you best believe Pepsi is going to come after you."
Right.
It's like you just can't. And so, part of what school doesn't teach you is all the things about business, which is you come up with an idea, an original idea. You need to protect that because it's your intellectual property, and we have to understand that, because what happens is when you have an idea about something on a spiritual level, when you think of it and you put it down on paper, it's out there. Someone else can pick up on it and just run with it.
Yeah.
And we've seen people do that, or we'll see people see it and copy it and run.
Okay, I think we have a caller. So protecting intellectual property. Do you have anything else to add on that?
Yeah, only thing is for barbers, because we cut such a dynamic and diverse amount of people, we should, and a lot of our clients really want to see us successful. So really what we need to do is just talk to people who have a little bit more business knowledge than us to help us through the process. Get you a lawyer and go through the process. It's worth paying the money to protect what you worked hard for.
Yes.
And I know down here in Baltimore, people can appreciate this because Ray Lewis said, if y'all have the nerve to destroy my image, then I'm going to fight for that. And people have to understand that your ideas are worth fighting for, and you have to put money behind that. And if you're not willing to put money, then someone's going to take it and run with it. And we've met a guy who was like, I came up with that idea before, I had that idea before, I had this idea, but he never took it to the next level.
Yes.
So you come up with the idea, doesn't mean anything if you don't protect it and invest in it.
Yeah, and also business name.
Business names.
Research your
names.
Okay, what does that entail?
Well, that's a whole nother thing, because in any given city, you can come up with what they call a fictitious name. You can have Pepsi Barbershop. It's a fictitious name.
Right.
But if you try to go sell that name or make any kind of products and sell it, Pepsi can sue you.
Right.
And people have a misunderstanding, like, well, there's a Barber Love Barbershop in Michigan. Okay. He said he never heard of Barber Love before, the brand. Oh, okay, you never heard of Barber Love, the brand. I told him it's really not worth fighting him over that, because it's just a barbershop, and he's not. But I said, if you try to sell anything with Barber Love on it, my lawyer will call you. I can't do anything about you creating that fictitious barber name, because that's just state to state thing. But when you try to go on a national level and sell it, that's when it becomes a problem.
So that's national protection, though, trademarking.
Yeah,
so it's not just a
national,
state-to-state thing. Like business name is like a state-to-state thing, isn't it?
Business name is state-to-state, but trademark and patents are not only United States, but it can be protected all
worldwide.
Yeah.
Kevin?
No, I'm familiar with patents.
Because
protecting
my barbershop is called Liquid Styles Barbershop. But when I went to do the trademark, someone else already owns Liquid Styles, and they have it for a line of like shampoo, conditioners, things like that. So because we're in the same industry, I wasn't able to get the mark. But if I had been in a steel company, and that was shampoo, I could have been able to run the name. But because we're both in the same industry, they denied me my patent. That was a $500 learning lesson.
Oh my gosh! So you lose that money.
You lose that money. Oh, you lose the money. The application by itself is like $375, and if you get it wrong, you just lose out.
So I guess it's important to thoroughly
To do your
research before you spend your money.
Because I did not do my research. I just went straight in. Let me just do this. And I understand the importance of getting a lawyer.
You know, you mentioned product line. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So does Iconic Barber or Barber Love, do you all have a line yet?
I'm gonna speak for Barber Love, and then I'm gonna let Skilz speak for Iconic. Right now, Barber Love, we have T-shirts and armbands, and we're working on developing other products as well. But right now, we just have a T-shirt line and bands.
Oh, okay.
Wristbands.
Yeah, and Iconic Barber, we have a soon to come out line of shears coming out. I just want to let people know a product takes a while to develop. You know, this is not on the corner just press up a T-shirt, draw a T-shirt, and like when I was a kid. When you develop a product, we want our product to last and succeed. So we're taking our time, and our first product that we have in our hands now is Iconic Barber shears. That'll be on the market within the next couple of months.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
You know, we're in development that. We have the test items here now. We're testing them out now. Just really want to have a good product coming from Iconic. The name Iconic, just a good stern product that's going to last forever. We don't want a product to come out and then it don't come.
Right,
as long as they come out and it's playing a good place to feel real well, then we're happy to have our product out.
Okay.
How important is branding? You're hearing a lot about branding now, and I think a lot of times people don't stop and think about how important that is.
As branding has been important ever since branding, anytime came out, it's getting to be too commercialized.
Okay.
People want to brand everything now, and everything don't need to be branded. You know, so you have to understand that what is branding and what to brand.
Okay.
Every great ideal it don't have to be branded. It have to be branded. So you have to understand branding is a huge, can be huge and can be small. My individual barbershop is a brand in my local community. Right. So most people taking branding too much and too far. You know what I'm saying? But when you get into business, you have to it's all about researching. And today is moving so fast with the computer age that everybody's just think that stuff happens overnight. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So, let's take Puffy. Puffy been in the business for 20-some years. Jay-Z been in business for 20-some years. They just now reaching the real height of their branding. Yes. So if you've been in the barber game for 5 years and say, I'm at the top of my game, you just getting started. Yeah. You're nowhere near the top of your game because you haven't had the ups and the downs. It's more downs than ups. So I can say that for being in business for 20 years, so you're going to have more downs and ups.
Al, do you have anything to add on that?
I have a question. You guys, in our last show, you said that you got your name Iconic Barbers because you've done some iconic things. Can you, share with us some of the iconic things that you guys have done?
Well, in the barber industry, we was one of the. I was a part of Major League Barbers, and Wanza was part of League Barbers. We was one of the first quote unquote. It wasn't an initial team. It was just a group of guys at the time. We was the first team that really traveled around. African American team traveled around. Most people think the barber companies have teams. They don't. They have groups of people that work for them that sell clippers. That's not a team. We was the first team outside of a barber company that traveled around to shows and trade shows together from each city. And that was one iconic thing that I was a part of. Secondly, we came up with the slogan Barber Love, which Wanza and Don, which now is Iconic Barbers, is the true owners. I came up with, which you will see on every YouTube clip, every barber now puts up the L symbol as for Barber Love. I started that in Secaucus, New Jersey at the show. One of our guys started the Circle Fade, even though he doesn't get credit for it. We was at a show in 2008, and he came up with a haircut called the Circle Fade, which now people, Usher has that on his new album. Which this is the thing of branding. He came with the Circle Fade. Somebody seen us do it in the class. Now they cut Usher hair. Now they calls it the something of Milan or something. We don't know, but it's still the Circle Fade. But this is how slick and how quick the game is moving. A lot of different styles, and just the way of life of being a barber in today's in today, Iconic Barbers was a part of that. So most of the things that most of the barbers are doing today in their individual shops came from iconic barbers.
Okay.
Right. A lot of the, especially one of the biggest things that I think people have been doing color forever.
Yes.
Men gray and stuff like that. But what you've really been seeing lately over the past 10 years with color, everybody's getting color in their hair, black color, and doing so many uses with color. That really comes out of the tri-state area where we're from. Because in Philadelphia, I have to say, since about 94, we've been doing color. And it's to the point where everything we see on the internet, somebody's using color. But it's funny because in Philadelphia, no one gets color anymore.
Right.
No one gets the Clairol for men, just for men, or the Beijing. No one gets that anymore in Philadelphia. And when I first started traveling with the team, with the Major League Barber team, one thing I stepped back and said, well, wow, y'all teaching people things that we was doing 10 years ago. And but the rest of the country was just really catching on. And so some of that is definitely iconic in a way of how they're using a color. How you can see it being very sharp, and I'll go back to Ray Lewis. Every time I look at TV, I'm like, Ray Lewis got to die. You're like, you got a fresh color. Look at it.
You can tell.
Oh, you're freshly dipped.
Yeah,
So,
hair
but that really the making it like really manicured look started in the tri-state area.
Okay. That brings me to my last question.
Okay.
Have you guys serviced anybody famous? Like you talk about Ray Lewis. I mean, anybody you guys serviced that we might know?
We have service. I mean, we can talk about a lot of people we service. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, celebrities.
Celebrities.
Yeah, celebrities. Yes.
Celebrities you can think of the top of your
But
head. I mean,
always-
superstar. What about superstar?
Well, the only one I've done was Steve Johnson from BET.
Yes.
I worked one of the events with BET, the bald guy that's in charge of the music portion of all the BET shows. A friend of mine, Natasha Bryson, got me the job. So
Wow.
it was for one day, and it was fun. That's the only person I have under my belt.
and
Okay.
So
I
I'm
can
looking
tell one
forward.
real quick. I can. El DeBarge was in my. I cut El DeBarge.
There you go. Now we
for
talking.
the BET
Now.
Awards. And just real quick, we went on the color. El DeBarge in my chair. My shop was packed, and he's getting his haircut. I was cutting his hair. And just I said, "You done?" And he got up. This is the thing about today. He got up. He was like, "Nah." He came to me real ear. I said, "You all right?" He said, "Nah, I want to tell you something real quick. Can you put a little of that color in me?" I said, "Oh, you want some black to make the grays go away?"
Oh, you didn't say that loud,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you?
Did I
He
ever?
was
I had to get it.
You got all loud.
I said, "You gotta say some black to get the air." So he was like, "Yeah, I just need some black." So that just tells you the things that the color has done.
Yes.
Everybody needs something in there.
Okay.
Where do you see the future of barbering? We'll end with that question. We'll start with Angelo.
The sky's the limit. That's all I can say. I'm just looking for more years in the business,
Yes.
and that's it. I love it. It's my thing. I eat, sleep, breathe it. Can't think of nothing else.
You're like, that's it. Wanza.
I will agree with Angelo. The sky's the limit. And also, I wanted to say, it's not important about cutting celebrities. Is I cut people that can change your life.
Yeah.
Right.
People that can put your kids in schools that you can't afford.
Exactly.
So there's people that are not being recognized, that aren't Puffy and Jay-Z, that can change your life
Yes.
way more than they can.
Wow.
Right.
Okay, great.
I think the barber patience. Just have patience, and you will succeed in any industry. Just have patience.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Oh boy, I guess this is gonna officially end our show. I'd like to thank the iconic
we
barbers
like
for
thank
coming
you for
in.
having us.
I mean, you came from Philadelphia, you
Yes.
came from Delaware, and all that snow.
And the
Yeah.
snow too.
And I was struggling just to come 20 minutes, so I really appreciate it. We
Yeah.
want you all to come back because you're
We
always
support
a
the
friend.
show.
Shop Talk with Cassandra
Absolutely.
Renee. I've already asked Angelo to marry me. He said yes, so Angelo will be visiting us quite often. Okay, you'll be speaking through Angelo.
Absolutely.
And
Okay.
congratulations to you guys for
Thank
your
you.
businesses and having them
Thank
for
you.
as long as you had them.
Yes,
Okay. Congratulations.
And time to end the show, Kevin. Time to end the show.
Aw.
Until next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Baltimore.
That was great.
Alrighty then. Hope I wasn't in nobody's way. No, I think it's good. Everybody's in there.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's in there.
Nah, that's
Y'all
good.
did an excellent
Okay.
job. Okay. Thank you for tuning in again.
Oh, what the else? I'm so used to doing deuces. I'm just,
That was good.
Yeah, that was nice.
Excellent job.